When you graduate college, you officially begin your life as an adult. What you don't want is to end up an unemployed mess who has to crash at their parents' basement because they don't have a solid plan.
Loneliness and cheeseburgers are a dangerous mix.
That's why it's so important to land quality internships while you're in college so you can launch right into a fulfilling and fun career right from the graduation stage. My name is Jacob Mazurkevich, and today I'm going to walk you through these specific steps that I took that helped me land multiple data science and data analytics internships this past year. Step number 1 to land a data science internship is to spice up your resume. Whether you like it or not, first impressions matter, and your resume will often determine whether you even get an interview. Most companies use software to filter resumes automatically, meaning that if your resume doesn't pass the bar, you're not even going to be considered by an actual human. You're going to be rejected straight away. This is why it's so important to nail this part. I have a few guidelines when it comes to creating an awesome resume. The first is that it looks clean. Keep your resume to one page. Make sure it's organized in a logical format and that someone scanning it will understand what they're looking at. Make it aesthetically pleasing. Don't crowd too much information or too little information into your document. The second is to highlight your achievements. Now, you want to word your achievements in terms of measurable impact on your organization or company or whatever it is. Instead of saying you merely did something, try to include specific numbers on how you improved something. For example, if you were the recruitment person for your club, instead of saying that you helped with recruitment initiatives, say that your direct actions contributed to a 20% increase in membership in your organization. The more specific you can get and the more numbers you can provide, the better. The third is work experience. Now, when listing out your previous work experience, you want to tailor the skills part to the job you're applying for. What you want to do is look at the job posting and get a feel for the different skills that are needed, and then try to match that as closely as possible when you list out your previous roles, even if they were dissimilar roles. For example, if the job you're applying for lists strong presentation skills as a must-have, talk about your communication skills in your previous role. Even if it was simply communicating with customers as a cashier at a different store, you want to highlight these transferable skills and tailor them to the job you're applying for. Fourth are extracurriculars. Here's where you want to highlight your soft skills. Any experience you have with leadership, communication, collaboration, you want to list your extracurriculars and then really drive home how well you communicate with others. Companies today want well-rounded individuals, not just people with data science and technical skills. Here is your chance to highlight that you're an actual human, that you can work well with others, and that you will be valuable to the company. The final thing I want to touch on when it comes to your resume is keywords. Now, like I mentioned earlier, companies use automatic software to filter through resumes. So it's important that you sprinkle in those keywords to make sure that the software picks up on it. To do this, you want to look through the job posting and identify a lot of the words that they're using. Then you want to include these words in your own resume. Now, you don't want to overload your resume with buzzwords or cram in SQL to every single section, but you do want to provide a generous sprinkle of words that are in the job description, so any automatic software that your resume gets sent to will get the green check. Step 2 is to get involved in the community or on campus. This is the step for those whose resumes are looking a little bare, or for those who just want to find a way to differentiate themselves from the other candidates. There are 3 main ways to do this. The first is to join an extracurricular at college, whatever that may be. Preferably, you want to land a leadership role so that you can highlight your direct contribution to the organization when you're talking to your employer. The second is to join a related trade organization, like the Association of Data Scientists. Or you can simply attend a data science or data analytics related event, like a hackathon in your local area. This shows employers that you're interested in the field and that you're passionate about what you do. It also highlights your skills in collaborating, communicating with like-minded individuals. The third is to start a blog, a website, or a YouTube channel that talks about data science and data analytics. This once again shows your dedication to the field, but it's also a great way to differentiate yourself from the other candidates. How many job candidates applying for the position that you are going to have an entire blog dedicated to data science? This is a great way to show off not only your knowledge, but also your passion for data analytics and data science. This doesn't even have to be super in-depth. You can just go on LinkedIn and make a couple of posts about data science and get your voice out there. The point is to prove to employers that you're involved and that you go above and beyond. Step 3 is to set up social media and job site profiles. Now, Before you start sending your resume on its merry way, crowding the many databases of employers out there, it's important that you update your personal brand and make sure that employers can actually find you online. This means updating your social network profiles on LinkedIn, Handshake, and Indeed, and also creating a GitHub if you haven't already. First, LinkedIn. You want to update your LinkedIn with all relevant info from your resume. Include your projects, your work experience, any skills or coursework you've taken that would apply to the job or your career. Fill out the basic sections of your LinkedIn and just make sure it doesn't look bare. You don't have to go above and beyond optimizing for everything, but LinkedIn is a must-have these days for people who want to land jobs. And you want to make sure that it looks nice so if employers look you up, they know that they're getting a quality candidate. Second, you want to optimize your Handshake and Indeed accounts. Handshake and Indeed are great resources for finding employers and applying for jobs, but it's also important that you keep them regularly updated. You kind of want to do the same things you did for your LinkedIn profile. Update your relevant info, any projects or accomplishments you've had, any relevant coursework. Just make sure that if employers want to look you up on these services, you make sure that you're representing yourself in the best way possible. Third is to set up a GitHub. If you're applying for a technical role, this is a must-have. Now, you don't need to be an expert in version control or understand all the nuances of Git to have a GitHub account. Simply showing to employers that you understand that version control is a part of data science will set you apart from many other candidates. Even if it's not the most optimized, it will show employers that you understand the importance of relevant tools in the field. Step 4 is to apply. While the chance isn't zero that sending your resume through Indeed will land you an interview, it's pretty close to zero. Almost as close to zero as Kanye West being normal for a day. Luckily, there are smarter ways to go about applying, so it's super important that you do this the correct way. The first is to actually scan for opportunities on resources like LinkedIn, Indeed, Handshake, and job boards like levels.fyi. This is a great place to find actual jobs that you're interested in and find open positions. If you have a company in mind, you can also go to that company's website, go to their careers page, and search up open positions. This brings me to my second point, which is that it's always better to apply through a company website than through a quick service like LinkedIn. The key here is to differentiate yourself. Thousands upon thousands of people are flooding services like Indeed with their resumes because it's easy and fast. By applying through a company website, you have a better chance of being noticed by the actual employer. The more friction there is in your application process, the higher chance of landing an interview. After you send in your application, you want to reach out to a hiring manager or someone in the organization to talk about it. Preferably, if you can get an email, send a brief note explaining who you are, the position you applied for, and a quick thank you. This will set you apart from the other candidates and may help you foster a relationship with the company you're applying for. Another tip here is to match your resume to the company you're applying for. You want to make your resume seem personalized to the company and that you really care about applying for this specific position. The way I do this is in my objective section at the top of my resume, I actually list the name of the company for the position I'm applying for. Taking small steps like this to go the extra mile shows initiative and can go a long way in landing you an interview. Now, when you're searching for opportunities to apply for, you want to pick quality positions that you're actually interested in. But to a certain extent, applications are a numbers game. You want to send out as many applications as you can. 20, 30, even 40 applications might not be enough to land you your one dream position. So it's important that you keep shooting. Don't take failure to heart and apply for as many positions that you think that you would find interesting. One more note about this is that it's so important to start applying early. If you're applying for a summer internship, which are most internships, you ideally want to be applying in the early fall, around September, October, and November. This may seem like it's far out in advance, but this is actually the timeline that a lot of employers use to hire potential interns. So, don't procrastinate, get started as soon as you can. Step 5, the interview. If you receive an offer for an interview, great. Now it's time for the hard part. You may be panicking, but there are some concrete things you can do to make this process easier and more successful. Now, there are differing levels of difficulty when it comes to data analytics and data science interviews. Some are extremely challenging with on-site coding interviews and complex questions, while others are more simple and behavioral based. To ace your interview, it's important that you understand what type of interview you're walking into. To do this, you want to do research. Go on Indeed, Glassdoor, and Reddit, search up your company and the position you're applying for, and try to find out about the interview process. Is there going to be a coding challenge? Is it complex and long? Is it simple and more behavioral? You want to find out as many details as you can so that you can prepare yourself for the interview. If it's more of a technical interview, you might want to brush up on your coding skills in LeetCode and hone your data science skills on websites like towardsdatascience.com. If it's more behavioral based, you want to come in with examples of times that you've worked on a team, projects that you've succeeded and failed on, and have concrete examples of your work. Now, I could dedicate an entire video to the interview process, but I'm going to keep it short here. On the day of the interview, make sure you're well rested, eat a good breakfast, dress for success, walk in, and do your best. If possible, when scheduling the interview, you want to schedule yourself as the first or last candidate of the day. This is due to what's called the primacy and the recency effect. Basically, if you're the first candidate to be interviewed, the interviewer will remember you more due to the primacy effect. If you're the last person to interview in the day, you're going to benefit from the recency effect, which is that interviewers will remember the last candidate more as well. There's actual science behind this, so if you can choose your interview time, try to make it early in the morning or right before the business day ends. And lastly, always smile and thank the interviewer for their time. Manners matter. Step 6 is the follow-up. Now, I've found that this hasn't really worked out well for me in the past, but I know plenty of people who have found great success from following up with their interviewer after the interview. How this works is you could simply send a brief email thanking the interviewer for their time, reiterating why you'd be a good fit for the position, and wishing them the best. Simply following up and showing that you're engaged in the process and that you're polite can go a long way in swaying an interviewer's decision. It's important here that you don't be pushy and that you simply be brief, polite, and to the point. Step 7 is to hopefully receive offers. If you received an offer after an interview, congratulations. You made it through a long, difficult process and you have valid cause for celebration. If you have multiple offers, it can be a little difficult to decide which one to accept. One tip that I have personally used is asking for extensions to decide on my offers. If you ask for an extension on when to decide, most companies will allow you to. After all, they do want you to work for their company and they don't want to lose you to another. So if you have multiple competing deadlines or offers, simply ask for another month to decide, and this can help you clear your mind and have adequate time to decide on the best offer. And that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found value in this video. I found that by following these steps, I've been able to receive multiple data science and data analytic internship offers. And I hope that by following some of them, you can also land your dream internship so you can escape the basement. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more college and data science related content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.